Did you know the riser of a bow is the only part of the bow that we touch? So it's obvious you'd want it to be comfortable in the hand, but that doesn't even scratch the surface of its functionality. As a matter of fact, they come in all types of shapes and sizes. So far, we've just focused on functionality, but today we're gonna focus on the looks. I think if it looks better, you shoot better because you're happy to shoot it every single time. You know what else looks good and functions good? Well, let me show you. This is my office. This is where I do all the editing. And the desk I'm using is the E7 Plus from FlexiSpot, which is the sponsor of today's video. One of the coolest things about these desks is how strong and durable they are. It could lift me right up. I'm still going up. Which it turns right into a standing desk. Sitting for long periods of time can lead to some issues, especially when I'm sitting here editing all day. My back starts to hurt, I kind of feel sluggish, my brain slows down, but when I can alternate from sitting to standing to sitting to standing, I can stay fresher longer. And one of the best features of the E7 Plus is the programmable heights. So all you have to do is hit your custom preset and it'll go immediately to your standing and immediately down, back to the sitting. They even have a stick figure sitting and a stick figure standing. This makes it easy to know which preset is which. Another big benefit when the desk is up real high like this, it is super sturdy still so that your desk isn't shaking around while you're working. As you can see, as I'm working here and typing, even vigorously, the desk does not even move at all. The other great thing is just how smooth this is. Lastly, their desks are very reasonably priced, and with my code, it gets even better. Go to flexispot.com and use code 24AUGE+ for an extra $50 off the E7 Plus. If you need a desk, this is a great deal. Thank you, FlexiSpot, for sponsoring today's video. Plans. I need a plan. I don't have a plan. This distance gives me stress. Once I have a plan, even though I've done no work, the stress just seems to leave. Because for me, it doesn't matter how hard the work or task is. It just matters that I know what to do. But not knowing what to do is much harder than doing the hard thing. So the first thing that we need to do is cross the stress bridge. First decision is shape. That's what we've already figured out. It only took like 8 videos. I recently wanted to do some of my own experimentation to find out the best riser design for what I like to shoot for a takedown bow. Here was version 1. This is 2. This is 3. This is 4. And this is 5. Next, we have design. Material design specifically. We already have shape design, but now material design, so maybe that's an improper word. Here's what's bouncing around this head that we need to figure out. I personally like simple things. I like a clean look. And this solid piece of wood, I think looks great. But we could also do horizontal laminations or even vertical laminations. We could also do a curved lamination. The conflict I feel is that I want to make something unique, but I also like simple things. And then back to this side, it's like, has everything been done? Kind of. But it'll be unique because I'm doing my own, but I'm probably not gonna do something revolutionary, but part of me wants to think I'm different. And still yet, the pureness of a handle like this with one just solid piece of wood is attractive to me. So I need to think. Maybe I should do something outside my skill set. Who cares about the video? Do what you would do without a camera. What would I do? What would I do? Make it spicy and subtle, subtly spicy. I would do then I've got an idea that I'm slightly uncomfortable about because I've never done it. My thought process is, what would I do if you weren't here, and if I had all the time in the world to do this? Like, what do I want to make? Subtly spicy. We'll do a different material scheme and smaller light laminations. The kicker, we'll do a horizontal curved lamination. It'll look like this. Hey, I thought that was a good drawing. I'm joking. I'll build a riser like this, and then we'll cut it again. And we'll add a lamination that goes along the curve of the bow. But instead of a tiny little veneer, I think I'm gonna do a full 1/4 inch. So I may sandwich 3 pieces of material in the middle and then have these. So we're basically doing horizontal and vertical and curved. I make everything difficult. Material, we have wood, the obvious one, fiberglass, phenolic, carbon fiber, and then plastics, which I don't want to do. These are just a couple options, but I'll stick to the top 4 and probably only use 2 of them. I do have some black phenolic. I think I'm gonna incorporate that because I like how it looks and I love the structural strength in a riser to just give it that extra. Wood's primary. I know the color scheme, but I don't know the exact material. On the light, I'll use hickory or maple. I do have some curly maple that could look good. For this one, the zebra wood's a little lighter than I want, and then we do have this Brazilian walnut. That's real dark, I do like that. I have some of this hardwood left over that was sourced from Japan, which is pretty cool, but I think it's a little lighter than the color scheme I want to do. I could also do bamboo for part of this core lamination. That would bend really well and be a light material. Number 4, build. How are we gonna build it? We're gonna do it. Sometimes the balance between freehand and building jigs is tough because if it's a one-off, there's no reason to necessarily build a jig if you can get by without, although the jig will give you better results, potentially, and be faster once the jig is built. But pre-jig, it might take a little longer than with the jig, but if you include the jig building time as well, the jig scenario is maybe 2 or 3 times longer because jigs can take a while to build. I need to go shopping for some wood. Yeah, that's what I need to do. This bow build just got a lot more expensive. Although pricey, this wood is hard and dense, which should be great for bow making. And as a matter of fact, this wood is often used in high-end instrument making. But there is a downside, which is the dust that this wood makes and the splinters from this wood tend to have more adverse effects on the body than other types of wood. So if working with this wood, make sure you have proper protection. The process is to cut and flatten the wood, or the material, whatever we're going to use, to the shape and size we need. This takes a bit of time and precision. and patience, skills that I'm working on. As the glue cured, I worked tirelessly for weeks and months on mastering the most difficult design man has ever seen. I wanted to quit. I wanted to go make an Osage self bow. But when almost all hope was lost, I figured it out and designed a masterpiece. In my neck of the woods, we call this rare object a line. Quarter inch. That's all we need to cut out is a quarter inch to add a quarter inch inlay. I've never done this method on a CNC, which is a little bit slower than bandsawing the line and then using the template sander with a jig. I just didn't feel like building the jigs. So instead of spending 3 hours on building jigs, I spent 3 months on designing a line. I decided on bamboo, sandwiched between 2 pieces of fiberglass for the inlay. The really good thing about where we are right now is that now we have a board. So we can treat this like a solid block of wood when we start to build a riser. So we're at the starting point basically. Now I'm going to attempt to throw this on the CNC to do a 2D profiling toolpath in order to get the rough shape. And then I'm going to do all the carving with hand tools and sanders to get the 3D shape the way I like. This method feels a little risky to me because if I make a mistake, it tends to have greater consequences with this tool. All right. My biggest concern was that I would make this too busy, but I think it's gonna be clean enough. When I'm prototyping or building a new one like this, I like to first do the limbs and connections before shaping the handle. I always want those limbs to match up perfectly with the riser. And the CNC left a couple marks on the flat area, which isn't ideal. So we're gonna have to clean that up. But first we gotta start with the hardware. So precision matters a lot here. Once the hardware is complete, it's shaping. So far, I'm quite pleased. This felt daunting to try to build, but ooh. The perception of how difficult something is can sometimes be greater than the anticipation of the difficulty. And other times it's less. This feels a little relieving to me that I was able to pull the shape off on my first try. But we're not in the clear yet because it's not finished. But I have all day, today's day 3 on this, all day to work on this. So let's finish it today. So that's definitely the new model. Do it now or later. Shaping the riser is done with chisels, sanders, rasps, and anything I can use to give myself control so that I can get it shaped exactly how I like it. With the nature of this extra hard wood, it took very long to get it sanded smooth. This is the finished riser.